Welcome to the Catechast, a podcast for Catholic teachers, parish leaders, and parents. I'm Jacob, and with me is my wife, Alicia.
Hello.
We're here to share with you what we have been doing to pass on the Catholic faith in the classroom, at church, and at home. You're listening to episode 3 of the Catechast. Welcome back. Alicia had a snow day this last week. It's been super cold.
2.
Here in Ohio. Oh, she had 2 snow days. Well, 1 cold day and 1 snow day, right?
Yeah.
What did you do with your time, with your day off? Your days off, I should say.
Well, on Wednesday, I was the only one who had the day off. The kids still had to go to school. And so I made them some hot chocolate and took them to school to kind of make them feel less sad about me having a snow day and them having to go to school. And then I was able to go to the school mass, and then I went to adoration and came home and worked on grades while watching movies. And that was pretty much my whole day.
What movies did you watch?
I watched 50 First Dates.
Ooh, a classic.
I mean, I don't know if I would call it a classic, but it's just a movie I wouldn't watch while the kids are around. And Napoleon Dynamite, which I was like dying laughing while I was watching it. I haven't watched it in years, and apparently it was a little bit of a coincidence because you told me that it was the 20th anniversary of the movie coming out. So
yeah, 20 years since the release of Napoleon Dynamite. I love that movie.
What's your favorite line?
My favorite line? Oh, gosh. I think my favorite line is, "Your mom goes to college."
My favorite line is, I don't know. I like when Pedro's like, "Is she hot?" He's like, "Yeah. I like her bangs. Me too."
Yes. Oh, that is a classic movie. I remember watching it for the first time in high school and just having no idea what was going on and not enjoying it at all. But the second time, it was so good. There's something special about that movie where you've got to watch it more than once to really understand the joyful chaos.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the other great part of that movie is, what's the girl's name that's selling the keychains?
I forget.
Trish? No, not Trisha. I don't know. Whatever her name is. Like, after he rejects her keychains the first time, then she, like, runs away and leaves them on his doorstep, and he's, like, has them all in his locker, and he's, like, he can't fit his nunchucks in the locker or something, and so she, like, comes and gets them, and then he's, like, asks her for, like, "Hey, can I have one of those?" And then he, like, sticks it inside his, like, stretchy pants.
Yes.
And just, like, runs away with it. I was, like, laughing so hard at that.
He does. He has the perfect pants for containing all kinds of goodies.
Like tots.
Like tots, absolutely. It's
Anyways.
very sad when he gets kicked in the leg and all those tots get smushed.
He didn't share.
I guess, yeah, that's the importance of sharing, I suppose. That's good. We've been watching some good movies with the kids recently, too, right? And they've been playing a lot along those ideas. So we've just finished watching the Lord of the Rings trilogy with our kids, and they really enjoyed watching those. And they've been playing, Kings and Queens since then, making up extra stories about the ring and the descendants of the kings and queens of Middle-earth and running around playing. And Desmond's always the guard. So Felicity's a queen, Gabe is either a king or a prince, and Desmond's just the guard so he can carry a sword around the house and hit stuff.
Yeah, that was fun watching them.
Good. So you were telling us at the dinner table tonight about something you've been doing in the classroom, like these. You mentioned an amazing list. So what was the context for that, and then how did you have the kids make these amazing lists?
So, one of the programs that we've been using at school is through Ruha Woods. It's their Theology of the Body program. And so this unit 2 that we've been working on, I do it about once a week when half my kids go to Atrium for Catechesis of the Good Shepherd, and then I have the other half. And I usually do a lesson with them. So it's like every other week I'm teaching the same lesson to students. And in this unit, it was talking all about being made in God's image and what that means. And really focusing on creation being a reflection of the Creator, that we are able to see the Creator within creation. And so the activity that we did was to think of the amazing things in creation. And so one of the things that I did with my students was like, describe who God is. And so they were like, God is love, God is powerful, God is good, God is creator. And I was like, okay, great. Now, like, describe to me, like, who God is as the creator. And, like, you know, they threw out some things, and then someone was like, God, or the creator is amazing, the creator is awesome, the creator is, I don't know if they said creative, but that would have been funny. But I was like, yeah, the creator, God, our creator, is amazing. And you can see how amazing God is through his creation. And so I had them get online. We actually use National Geographic's for Kids website, and they have like lots of like fun facts about humans and the earth and space and animals. And then, so they got to choose an amazing fact about something in creation. And then they designed a poster with that amazing fact on it in Canva. And then we're going to print them out, and like in the hallway, we're going to display our amazing list and probably have some quote about how creation reflects, or creation shows us who the creator is, or shows us how amazing the creator is. So
I think that's so cool that you guys are using Canva to do that. How do you get Canva accounts for all the students?
They're not pro. I mean,
just like the free
if
Canva account?
If you'd like to sponsor this podcast, I'll design things for you. No, they just logged in with their school accounts, and it's just on there. But like, you cannot download or print something if they use a pro. Like, some of the kids had like images that were like for pro.
Oh
Canva.
Yeah, the pro only stuff.
And so it wouldn't let me download it, so we had to tweak a couple things. But one of the things I also told them, I was like, don't use clip art. We're not using clip art. I want the true photos of these things, because these are real. And we don't want the fake version of God's creation in clip art. I'm calling it clip art, but like, you know what I mean. It's not called that in Canva. But I want you to use real photos of like the animals, or of Earth, or of space. And so that was one of my requirements, is we want to see the real thing. So some of them were pretty cool. There's one about like a snail. It takes him like 200 hours to walk a mile.
Wow, 200
like
hours.
That.
Okay.
Yeah. And the example that I did was that your brain uses 1/3 of its power just for sight, for seeing. Someone did one about like all the skin on your body like weighs 11 pounds or something, the average person. Just some like, yeah, crazy awesome facts about the creator and his creation and how good it is. It was fun. They had a lot of fun. So I get to do that again this week with the group who was at Atrium. So
what are you going to end up doing with that? Do you publish them, or are you
I said I'm going to put them in the hallway.
You're going to put them in the hallway.
So
okay.
it's perfect, because Catholic Schools Week is coming up, and we have an open house, and so it'll be a good like display for the hallway. Not just for that, but also to evangelize the rest of the students. Like, who doesn't like looking at pictures and posters of
something beautiful, right?
Yeah, something beautiful and something good.
Yeah.
And using Canva, I was like, the goal is to, like, it needs to be attractive and, like,
Yes.
cool looking and like be catching to the eye. So
That's
even like we were able to reflect the creator. I'm just having an aha moment. Like them working through Canva, they were able to reflect the creator by using their creative juices. So yeah.
Like, using
It's like
their...
a full circle.
That's right. They're like naturally looking for, like putting order and design into their,
Yeah.
whatever they're making, their image, right?
Poster.
But also like seeking to make things beautiful
Yeah.
and compelling, right? Something that you want to spend some time looking at.
Yeah. So it was cool. It was fun.
That's
I'm
good.
excited to do it again.
Good.
So what have you been up to in the quiet parish office?
Well, it hasn't been very quiet recently. I guess it was quiet when we had a snow day because the school was off, so there were no students or teachers around, so it made for a quiet building. But we just got back to events after having a little bit of a Christmas break for faith formation. So we had one of our 3 tracks of faith formation called Continued Growth. They came in and for family sessions on Sunday and Monday and started a new resource, which is all about saints. It's a box called Witness that they're taking home and doing. And for the 4 at church sessions once per month that we're doing through April, we're going to be focusing on saints and the gifts of the Holy Spirit along with the box, because that's what they're learning at home in the box. So that's what I want to focus on and kind of draw out of and extend those lessons a little bit, just to add that support and give parents also, I don't know what the best word is, some ammo to use for the questions that come up from their kids. So just equip them more to be able to answer questions from kids. I know one that comes up a lot with kids when they're learning about saints is how do you become a saint? So that's one of the things that we focused on at the parent sessions this last month. But kind of what we do is start with, just a prayer after the parents come in, sit down in small groups in the room after they've dropped off their kids at their different spots around the building for faith formation. And then the parents, like I said, come in, sit down at round tables for small groups. It's, anywhere between 4 and 8 parents in a group, and usually with a table leader as well. And we'll start with a prayer, then do a check-in. So they're talking about how the last month has gone, what are like some good things, some difficult things over the last month. I usually ask them, or I did ask them this last time, since we just went through Christmas and New Year's, if there are any traditions that they celebrate or do with their family during that time. Then we did an activity, and the parents really got into the activity that I came up with for this one, which was to look at a list of shrines and holy sites just here in Ohio. They were all from Ohio. There's probably 25 different ones that I was able to put onto this list. And I asked all the parents, pick 4 or 5 and do some research on your phone. Just look up information about the site, kind of where it came from, what the genesis was, who founded it, if it was a priest or a religious order or something else, maybe the diocese or the bishop. And find some information so that you can pick 1 or 2 first to share about with everybody else at your table, but then also to like realistically think, is this a trip that we could do with our family? Is this something that the kids would enjoy doing? And it just got great results. The parents really got into doing the research and finding more out, but then they also really got into sharing and got excited about the possibility of visiting some of these with their kids. Mm-hmm. One of the families, the mom told me that they recently went to, over Christmas break, they went to the Catholic Museum of Art and History, is that what it's called? Mm-hmm. And they had the nativities on display from around the world. And she said even her 15-year-old son said, this is pretty cool about all the displays that were there.
Yeah, that museum's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I know. So I haven't been there yet. You've been there with the kids, right? Once when it was at the Jubilee Museum when it was that, and then you've been to the new one?
Yeah, I've been to the new one. We took our students last year to
Oh, that's
it.
right.
Yeah.
So just really cool stuff there. And the people talked about the Maria Stein, or maybe Maria Stein is how it's pronounced. That center and the relic room, they have I think it's over 1,200 relics just in this one room that you can see in the different reliquaries, and some really big ones like relics of the True Cross and some others. And then what I thought was really cool was the statue of Mary that's at Indian Lake, which is northwest of Columbus. And what the one of the moms told me, when she was doing her research, that at one point it was the largest statue of Mary in the world, and that it was part of a Catholic amusement park that's now defunct and gone away.
Yeah, I was doing my own research on that.
When I told you about it, yeah.
I think it was closed by like the 1976 or something like that. And they tore it down and everything. So rest in peace, Catholic Amusement Park.
That would be so cool to have a Catholic amusement park nearby to go to.
What would be the names of the rides? Like Holy Spirit roller coaster. I don't know.
Holy Roller. That's what they would call it.
Oh.
Obviously.
Anyways, that's awesome. And I'm glad the parents were excited about that. Mm-hmm. It's always cool to do trips like that. We've done a couple trips like that with our kids. Not necessarily here in Ohio, but other places. And it's really cool, especially to see, like, if where saints were living or... just these places that are sacred places meant to honor God and, glorify Him. Yeah,
we went up to where Mount St. Mary's is in Maryland, right?
Yeah.
And there was a giant statue of Mary, golden Mary. And they had a cabin there that St. Elizabeth Ann Seton lived in with some other women, and there the Adoration Chapel as well. Mm-hmm. that she used at that site, and it was beautiful, and they had really cool walking stations that you could go around to, and
the chapel itself was like, I feel like it was like all glass around, so you could see like all right. Like
that was the new church that they built there, yeah.
No, I'm not talking about the adoration. I'm talking about the chapel where we went to Mass, but it was all like glass windows, so you could see like the beautiful like woods all around.
Yeah.
It almost felt like you were like having Mass outdoors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was very modern, but very beautiful in the way that it worked into the surrounding nature.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. So the last thing I want to talk about tonight was what is our dinner table conversations look like. That's kind of like a keystone for us as a family, sitting down, having dinner together and having some conversations. So I was hoping to share just kind of what our dinner table conversations look like, what are the questions that we ask and repeat with the kids, and what are some topics that have come up recently with that time.
So tonight, Felicity was like, brought up a Bible verse, and she was like, Mom, or like, I read someplace in a book I was reading that in John, he said something like, if you don't have, I don't remember how she said it. If you don't have love, you don't have God. And I was like, yeah. I was like, okay, pause. I was like, can I just share a God moment with you right now? And she's like, yeah, like laughing. I was like, I was literally in prayer today. I was praying about God's unconditional love, and I read that verse today and the surrounding verses about love. And I was just like, that's crazy that you brought that up. Out of all the verses, it comes from 1 John chapter 4. And so then she said, she like continued to go on and say, Well, in this book I'm reading, it's just like a graphic novel.
Yeah.
It was like the girl brought up that if you're not baptized, you'll go to hell. And so she like brought up that phrase, and we're like, that's not good theology. And so
her question was if
after she asked that, then she expanded. She's like, well, what if... You can
so what if someone who's like were raised in a different religion and they never knew Jesus, they never knew anything about him, and they died, would they still go to hell just because they didn't have a chance to know Jesus? And that's when I was, we kind of got into talking about the four last things and heaven and hell. And, she was asking would the person, go straight to hell? And I kind of like stopped her and said, do you remember what comes first? Right when you die, what happens? What happens between you and God? And that's what I explained judgment to her and how it is that we are judged based on our love and our charity and how we followed God and cooperated with his grace. So I got that opportunity to explain to her that God is love. I think that's how we originally kind of bridged that, right? Mm-hmm. Bridged that verse with what she was talking about. Mm-hmm. And that I talked to her about somebody who is following love and loving others. They're doing what God wants them to do. They're doing God's will. And I asked her, once they meet God, don't you think they'll be happy, right? To meet him, to meet the God who is love, who they've really been following for their whole lives since they've been loving others.
Yeah.
So we talked about that. And I also brought up for her, just to make it clear, that someone who knows what baptism is and knows what it does for us, but if they reject it, if they say no to that, right, then they could be rejecting God. Mm-hmm. And that might be somebody who would choose to go to hell.
Yeah, and Gabe brought up I think Gabe was the one who was like, something about and you're sent to hell. And I was like, no, going to hell is a choice. I was like, God's not going to send you to hell. That's a choice you make. Mm-hmm. And then sweet Desmond at the end, he's like, I want to go to heaven. And yes. I was like, yes. And so we did a little cheers. And I was like, to heaven.
Yep.
And we all clinked our glasses because we all want to get to heaven. So that was like a good, thank you, Desmond, for solidifying this and wrapping this up on a good positive note and not just, some people might go to hell and that's sad. And
yeah, you just put a bow right on top of the conversation.
He did.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's good to know that our kids feel comfortable, at the dinner table, knowing that they can ask those kind of questions, that we're open to it and that we're open to discussing things with them.
And even if we wouldn't know the answer, Jacob was trying to remember what the 4 reasons why Christ came, and he couldn't remember the 4th one, so then he ran and, I don't know what you grabbed, the catechism?
Yeah, I grabbed my catechism.
And looked it up, but... I think sometimes people are afraid to talk about the faith because they're unsure of all of the things, which it's okay to be unsure, and it's okay to show your children or the people who you're helping that humility of I don't have all the answers, but I know where I could find the answers, mm-hmm. and I want to help you. I feel like sometimes people get afraid to share. Because they're afraid of the questions that will be asked. And it's okay. It's okay not to know everything.
Right. And kids are really moved when we explore the faith with them as well. When we show that we're open to learning new things and doing that, kind of doing that research and finding out alongside of them.
Yeah. So dinner's good and conversations are good. We've also picked up a practice for called on by our bishop, mm-hmm. Bishop Earl Fernandez, the bishop of the Columbus Diocese. He wrote a letter to the faithful on the feast of
the Immaculate Conception.
Yes, I was getting there.
Okay. Just trying to help you.
And he, thank you. He called the faithful to after Christmas to start practicing abstaining from meat on Fridays as a way to show like sacrifice for the pro-life movement. I don't know what his official wording was.
I think he said like in reparation for sins against life.
Yeah. So that's been something too that's joined our dinner tables as of recently. Mm-hmm. And it's just been a good reminder to the kids that, not everybody sees life as being sacred, and it shouldn't just be something that's washes over us like, oh, well, there's nothing we can really do. But there actually is, and there's power in the choices that we make as a family. And so that's been something that we've been doing and will continue to do throughout the Fridays of the year, I guess, and for however long, I guess. But so that's been cool. And I was hesitant to are the kids going to be like, Mom, why do we have to do this? Dad, why do we have to do this? But they seem really on board with making those sacrifices. And I think it's they get it too, because we do it during Lent, and it's already a practice that they've experienced. So
I'm excited for them to have that experience in childhood, because I don't think I really found out that we were supposed to be fasting just from something in general on Fridays until I was maybe 30 years old. It took a long time for that information to finally reach my brain. So I'm happy to be able to to share that and to get a practice into our kids' lives while they're young.
So if you live in the Columbus Diocese, go find his letter to us faithful and read it, and maybe incorporate that into your faith life as well.
Absolutely. All right, well, we hope you enjoyed listening today and found some what we're up to helpful for you. Please subscribe to the podcast and check us out, and subscribe to our Substack at thecatechast.com. You can leave a comment there and let us know what you're interested in hearing about. God bless you all, and we will see you next time on The Catechast.
Bye.